Hello, everyone. I'm Sandra Smith, along with Kayleigh McEnany, Harold Ford Jr., Jesse Waters, and Greg Gutfeld. It is 5 o'clock in New York City, and this is The Five. Brand new charges announced against the suspect accused of gunning down two Israeli embassy workers and bragging about it. Elias Rodriguez charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and other charges. They're also looking at hate crime and terrorism charges over the deaths of Yaron Lashinsky and Sarah Milgram. They were a young couple that was about to get engaged, shot in cold blood as they were leaving a benefit at the Capitol Jewish Museum in D.C., with the suspected killer later caught on tape chanting this.
No. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine!
An eyewitness describing the shocking scene and how she spent 10 terrifying minutes with the accused gunman.
They moved us all into an area and were trying to keep us safe. Not understanding that we were in the room for 10 whole minutes with the murderer. He's like, "Oh, what kind of museum is this?" And I'm like, it's a Jewish museum. And he asks, "Do you think that's why they did it?" in reference to the gunshots we had heard. And I was like, "Yeah, maybe. I don't know, but I don't think so. I hope not." That's when he reaches into his bag and pulls out a keffiyeh and says to me, "I did it. I did this for Gaza."
Wow. And now in the wake of those horrific murders, there's new scrutiny of college campuses that have left radical pro-terror propaganda fester amid a growing rise of anti-Semitism. Just yesterday, a vile scene outside of Columbia's graduation with students burning their diplomas. And breaking earlier, the Trump administration terminating Harvard's student visa program. I want to get to more on that in just a minute. But Jesse, to you first on this heinous, awful crime that occurred last night and the accused gunman. What did you think when you saw him there chanting, "Free Palestine, free Palestine"?
Well, he's a killer, and that chant is getting a little crazy. They make excuses for these chants, Sandra. You know, we're all for free speech, but when you start committing murder after chanting it, you're going to bring down a lot of hell on that movement. They're now going to revoke visas. They're going to freeze money. You saw Harvard. They can't even bring in foreign students. You're going to get spied on if you're at these rallies now. It's getting dangerous for these people. They want to stop the war in Gaza, and that's fine. You can criticize Israel. You can even go so far as to call it a genocide. But when you start committing heinous acts like this, not only is this movement going to be decimated in the United States, it's going to backfire in the Middle East. We're on the precipice of possibly getting an Iranian nuclear deal, Abraham Accords. Taking out innocent people in Washington, D.C. is not going to lead us to peace in the region. It's only going to make things worse. The left has more assassins than ideas. You go down the list. You got Luigi. You got the Scalise shooter. 2 Trump assassins. The Kavanaugh guy. The IVF bomber. Some arsonist tried to take out Shapiro's home. So this left-wing violence is compounding. And then there's this media environment that permission slips it. Oh, you know, it's just a phrase from the river to the sea. You don't understand the historical context. They're financing it. They're nurturing it at universities. And then they're downplaying it after the fact. You saw it in the Oval Office last night. You know what? It's only a few white farmers being murdered. I mean, we're not at the genocide level yet. I mean, this is what they're doing, and this has to stop now. So look no further than social media, Kayleigh, to get a glimpse of what would lead someone to carry out this awful thing that happened to 2 people who were apparently in love and looking to get married and engaged and married soon. This accused gunman reportedly posted "Death to America"
on some of his posts, unhinged posts, that also includes praise for Luigi Mangione. Your thoughts?
The dehumanization of life, to Jesse's exact point. Yaron had just purchased Sarah a ring this week.
Yeah.
Imagine you purchase a ring for your fiance, not knowing days later that you both will no longer be here. This is tragic, and we have to look at the roots of what is happening on our universities and look no further than just a little bit from that museum. Look no further than George Washington University. I will never forget the phrase that was lit up on the wall of the library at GWU. What was the phrase? Glory to our martyrs. Well, the martyrs, so-called martyrs, killed with their bare hands a 10-month-old boy named Kafir Bibas, a 4-year-old boy named Ariel Bibas. Those are your martyrs? Wow. And then they put From the River to the Sea up on that university. Those kids were suspended. But, that's just a mile away. Go up the Eastern Corridor. Let's come up here to New York. And what do you find? Columbia University. Barry Weiss has detailed all of this. A professor who called October 7th awesome. Well, let's go a little bit further up the Eastern Corridor. And here's what you find. A professor at Cornell who called the attacks energizing, exhilarating. Professor at Princeton, or kids at Princeton, who said globalize the Intifada. When you have this insidious ideology coming out of our universities, it needs to be rooted out. Anti-Semitism needs to be pushed out of society because this was predictable. This was predictable, and it should have been stopped. And thank God for President Trump having the will to say, we're stopping this on my watch.
He did, and there was also obviously a lot coming in from members of Congress reacting to this, condemning this, with the exception of Ilhan Omar, who ran away from a reporter when asked about this. Harold.
Well, I don't have any. Well, first of all, it's good to be back around the table. I don't answer for her. I'm a Democrat and a proud Democrat. What happened in Washington, D.C. has nothing to do with my party. This was an act of hatred that should be condemned. We are human beings, and when human beings treat human beings like this, they should be punished. Hatred, unfortunately, Sandra, is bipartisan. But we shouldn't even be talking about the political leaning of it either way. I hear what we're saying, and I think I understand a little bit of it. But this, I think I understand where you're coming from. But this act here, whomever is unable to condemn this, whoever is unable to speak about how we shouldn't be talking this way and we should be trying to heal and not divide, that person should be punished. And if you act violently, whether it's Luigi or whomever, what I don't understand with the Luigi thing, there are people whom are supporting this guy. There are people who are sending money to him. Something's deeper and rotten in our society when someone in broad daylight, the beginning of the morning, shoots down a person and people are supporting that person because they tend to think his ideas around something or something they may support. He killed someone. And this person who's been accused of this, the young man there in the image there, he shot down and killed 2 people. I don't care what his politics are. He should be punished. So I just caution all of us. I think I understand a little bit what we're doing here, but this is an act of hatred and an act of violence. I wish it was all just one party. Even if it was my party, we could figure out a way to deal with it. But unfortunately, hatred and division and violence knows no political party, knows no geography. There's something rotten and something wrong, and we've got to figure out how we address it as a society.
I just want to make sure I update that she did eventually, after running away from a reporter and not responding when asked about these shootings last night, Ilhan Omar did post to Twitter eventually saying she was appalled by the deadly shooting at the Capitol Jewish Museum last night, and she's holding the victims and their families and loved ones in her thoughts. Greg, your thoughts?
As much as I adore Harold, I must disagree completely. Imagine if this were reversed. You can't, because there are no large groups of young people taking over colleges on behalf of some militant white nationalist movement. Hatred like this isn't bipartisan. So how do you explain this when what you're shouting for leads to the result that you're shouting for? And when a Jewish student goes to school and sees these mobs, do they have to be satisfied with the reassurance that it's just words? What's your problem? No one's bothering you. This school year ain't gonna be easy for them. In a perfect world, this act would be a wake-up call for the naive romantic activist who adopted the cause because climate change imploded and BLM went bankrupt. This violence is exactly what Hamas wants, and they appreciate your support. You know, all the rhetoric aligns. Your hobby is their mission. If you don't see that now, I mean, if you're a young female activist at Brown on her daddy's dime, this isn't college theater, something that you do for fun until you get that internship at the law firm. This is a hobby that has deadly consequences. 2 people died because you feel really good, you know, walking down Fifth Avenue or blocking the Brooklyn Bridge. Wasn't that great? When you hear the word genocide, you can argue whether it's correct or not. That's not the point. It's who benefits from the genocide narrative. It's not Israel. It's Hamas. The idea that Israel's like, hey, hooray, let's go genocide everyone, that's idiotic. That's the worst thing for their country, their brand, and their relationship to the West. This is why we're always talking to them about peace. The genocidal accusation directly benefits Hamas, which is why they have been obviously exaggerating the numbers, which they still do today, or they place offensive weaponry, terror cells, and hostages among citizens to drive up the numbers, because the more Palestinians die, the better it is for them. That's their only way of keeping power. The only way to maintain power right now is to propagandize the globe and to create fear through carnage like that. So you got to wonder, well, if we actually acquiesce, say we're no longer supporting Israel, do you think this extremism would stop? Hell no. They'd make it about something else, about the West, because that's how it always is. So this problem will be here forever. It's just going to take on a different costume.
But Greg, the only thing I say is these pro-Hamas people, they came and protested Kamala Harris's events. They came and protested Pelosi's events. And if I remember correctly, President Trump went to Dearborn, Michigan, because so many of that group was mad at Democrats. Look, I just don't think, I think it's bipartisan. We can differ on that, but what I want to be clear about, I don't answer for this Omar Congress, the Congresswoman Omar, and none of my Democratic friends do, and I am not only appalled, I share Greg's position, what you shared there about the Palestinians. I couldn't agree with you more, and I hope at a minimum that nothing changes on our government's part and our support for Israel.
Omar is part of the Democratic caucus.
So is Marjorie Taylor.
Officially.
Right, but I could point to Republicans that are part of that did things.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is,
the students on universities do not hail from the right who are chanting from the river to the sea. I can assure you.
But President Trump went to Dearborn and embraced that mayor and those others there who had been saying that Democrats were not enough in favor of the Palestinians.
He
and Hamas.
embraced the Muslim community, which is much different than these people on college campuses.
I would agree, but okay, fair enough.
All right. We appreciate that,
bipartisan.
and our thoughts are with that lovely couple that is gone just way too soon. Coming up, First Lady malpractice. Dr. Jill Biden accused of elder abuse.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.